Your Locked On Blackhawks, your daily podcast on the Chicago Blackhawks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? Welcome on into another episode of Locked On Blackhawks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, thank you all for making the show your very first listen here to start off your day. And a quick reminder that you can go and show some support by smashing that like button down below, commenting as well, and of course, going and subscribing to the Locked On Blackhawks YouTube channel. It won't cost you anything. It's 100% free and really does go a long way for yours truly. Joining me now on the show is none other than the first ever Blackhawks player or prospect that I had on the podcast a few years ago when he was still a member of the Mississauga Steelheads. Been a little bit of a journey for him since, and now he finds himself in his first professional season with the Rockford IceHogs. I'm talking about none other than 2021 fourth-round pick Ethan Del Mastro. Ethan, wanted to say thank you for taking the time to come on the show. How's life in Rockford treating you, big dog?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been lots of fun, like you said, first pro season. So getting adjusted to all those things, but it's definitely been fun.
Good, glad to hear. I figure we could kind of start this thing off by, before we get into your first professional season with Rockford, kind of an eventful last year for you, being your final year of your junior campaign, and then also because of the COVID shutdown, there were 2 World Juniors there in a couple of months and a couple of gold medals as a result there. And I wanted to ask you, going from kind of that first World Junior there in August and then taking on a larger role in the second one and wearing a letter, being an alternate captain as well. How was just kind of that experience being part of 2 World Juniors in 4 months? And then also, was there anything from that like first August World Junior that you carried over into the second one when you did take on a little bit of a larger role for the team?
Yeah, like you said, obviously amazing times being able to play at both those tournaments. But yeah, like the first one in the summer was a little bit of a whirlwind, being kind of the call up last minute. You're kind of flying out there. The team's already kind of in practice for a little bit, and you're trying to kind of, gel with the guys right away. And but it was an awesome experience to, be able to go out there and kind of, get my feet wet with it a little bit. And play not obviously as big of a role as the winter one, but was able to kind of, learn kind of what the tournament's like, become even more kind of comfortable with the staff because, like you said, in the Christmas one, Dennis Williams was our coach, our head coach, and he was the D coach in the summer one. So I was kind of able to, meet him and get a better kind of relationship with him. So, but yeah, I think kind of just gaining, a little bit of the knowledge of what the tournament's like, obviously being able to win it, kind of knowing what the winning feeling is like and kind of bringing that with the new group. And, it was awesome, being there with a lot of the Chicago prospects too, kind of getting to play with them for kind of a first time, was super awesome. And then, kind of having my family there the second time was also nice. The summer one was a little bit of a kind of, brought on to me kind of fast and wasn't able to get my whole family out there. But the winter one was able to kind of have them all out there, and it's nice to kind of, bring them along for those kind of events. And, they're such a big part of kind of the process and the journey I've been on. So it's nice to kind of, have that moment with them.
You referenced playing with Kevin Korchinski, Nolan Allen, also 2 members of that blue line for Team Canada. That's what I was going to ask you next. How cool was it to kind of look around and see those guys and, just recognize you're part of the same national program? And it must have been a little bit of a cool moment, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Play with them. We'll play with Allen in U18s before, so knew him a little bit from that, and then kind of knew those guys from camp. So it was kind of exciting when kind of all went to camp for the World Juniors, and then when we all made the team, it was an awesome experience. Kind of be able to do that with them, and I think obviously the Blackhawks, that's excitement for them. A lot of young prospects kind of being able to kind of to be displayed on World Junior and make that team. I think it's just exciting for the future.
And then I got to ask you, I wouldn't be doing my job properly as the host of a Blackhawks show if I didn't ask about how it was playing with Connor Bedard at those 2 World Juniors and seeing him kind of transition from that first one in August where, still an impact player, but then in the second one, really just kind of taking it over. How was it watching him in that kind of development as a teammate? And also, what was it like being in the locker room and getting to know him a little bit before he ultimately ended up getting selected by the Blackhawks as well?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I got to play with him at U18s a little bit, so knew him a little bit from then, and then obviously played the summer one with them. And I think kind of each tournament, you just kind of saw him taking steps. And then that final one, like you said, he kind of really popped off, and I think he's been showing pretty well in his first couple games there in the NHL, and you're kind of seeing what kind of player he is and how good he really is. So anytime you kind of get to play with a guy that's like a generational talent like him, it's pretty special. Kind of play alongside him. And it's kind of exciting when the whole kind of draft lottery went down and you found out that he was most likely coming to your team. It was kind of an exciting time, and obviously, he's a great player, but he's an even better person and a great buddy.
And I wanted to ask too, during the Blackhawks development camp that was all off ice this year, there was one statement from, I believe it was general manager Kyle Davidson, saying that Connor has already kind of shown some leadership qualities. And one thing we've gotten to know about him on the NHL scene is his work ethic. He seems like he lives, breathes, sleeps hockey and all that stuff, but also seems like he's in, takes care of his body, does all those things behind closed doors. Could you kind of get that vibe from him during the development camp as well?
Yeah, no, I think for sure. Going to development camp, it was kind of like you said, off ice and kind of a lot of different small area games. But I think the whole time he was kind of itching to get on the ice. He just wanted to get out there and play and get on the ice. He loves it so much, and I think that's what makes him so good is his work ethic and how hard he goes in the gym and on the ice and just the work he's putting in. It's kind of being displayed here. And I think that's what makes him such a good player is he always wants to get better and always wants to push to the next level.
And what were your kind of feelings as someone who's been in the system a couple of years and development camps in the past hadn't been strictly off of the ice? What were kind of your thoughts on that being what they went with this year, just strictly off the ice and workout stuff only?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've been to a development, camp where it was on ice, but I think it was kind of nice. It's obviously some people didn't like it from the outside, but I think when you're kind of a part of the system and you're doing your summer training and stuff like that, and a lot of the guys try to take time off and kind of rest a little bit after the season. Talking about like Nolan Allen and Kevin Korchinski and Docker and them, they were playing in the Memorial Cup literally like a month
Right.
before that, or maybe not even, maybe less time. So I think for players like that, where you're just starting to get back in the gym and kind of get back in the swing of things, it's kind of nice to have that time off and instead of kind of pushing your training a little bit past probably where it should be in that time in the summer and trying to get so ready for a development camp when it's kind of not the end all goal. You want to be able to be playing well in the season, not really the summer. So I think it was kind of nice and a nice change up.
And then getting back to your last season in junior, very successful season for you. I believe you were second all team OH. I worded that terribly. Second team all OHL, I believe. But obviously you ended up getting traded from the Mississauga Steelheads to the Sarnia Sting. And that's a team that, you had been part of for a couple of years and also were the captain there. I was just curious as to kind of the emotions and the feelings that went behind that. I knew you said previously that you had a feeling that Mississauga was going to go that way, but being the team that you had been with a couple of years, I'm sure there had to be some mixed feelings about that. Just curious as to kind of how that all went down and what was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, obviously, a tough kind of situation there. Obviously, like you said, a team that I kind of had been playing for the past couple of years, and got drafted to Chicago from Mississauga, and had great relationships with a lot of the staff there and players. So obviously, it was tough. But coming kind of the end of World Juniors, I knew that I think that Mississauga was going to be on the selling end of the trade deadline. So as we kind of like got back to the swing of things of getting back to Mississauga and stuff like that, we kind of just sat down and had a chat and kind of figured out what teams were kind of looking to buy and stuff like that. And Sarnia was pretty interested in kind of I think getting two players from our team, and it happened to be me and Del Babaloo. So it was kind of nice to go over there to a new organization with someone else that I knew pretty well and kind of played my whole junior career already with. So. But yeah, like you said, a lot of great buddies and staff that I was great friends with. That it's kind of tough seeing them, leaving them and not being around them as much. But it's kind of how it happens, in the hockey industry. And I think kind of being able to experience maybe a trade in junior kind of maybe might, obviously not wanting to get traded, but I think, help out with the future if that does happen or something like that.
And then you also go to Sarnia and get a good opportunity there playing big minutes. You did really well with that team. How did you enjoy that experience at the end of the year with them?
Yeah, Sarnia was awesome. The guys there were unreal, and I think we had a pretty old team. A lot of O3s around my age, which was kind of nice. You go into a team and it's usually a mix of old guys, young guys. But this was it was nice, kind of having all of us in the same age. I felt like we all really gelled well, and we're kind of able to hang out a lot. And Sarnia's a smaller town, so I felt like it was very much a tight, compact family kind of feeling, and you're around the guys so much, and always hanging out with them. So I think we had a super tight group, and a really good team, and it was tough to kind of for that to come to an end. I think we really wanted to go all the way, but I think overall just a great time in Sarnia.
And then last season total, Ethan, you had 59 points combined in 52 games. And as someone who's kind of been known as a bigger bodied defenseman all throughout your career, it felt like that was a really nice ascension for you. And even the year prior in Mississauga, I believe you had 48 points in 68 games after having just 7 assists your first year. Did you feel like there was anything specific you could attest that to, or was it just kind of the natural development of getting more and more comfortable with the league, or maybe a combination of both?
Yeah, I think, you come in as a kind of a young guy, and, especially on kind of the defense side of things. I think you're just trying to kind of figure it out, and make sure you're not messing up on the D side of things, and making sure you're strong defensively. So I think kind of having that year off as well, that, you kind of didn't see me in a second season. So all you saw was kind of maybe just defensive side of thing in my first year. And then, obviously having COVID, it's a large time to kind of develop. So I think kind of just really worked on my puck skills, and being able to handle the puck, and then just kind of being confident with making plays. I think that's a big part of the success, is just kind of being able to be put in good situations in Mississauga, and kind of allowing me to develop my offensive side of things, and feeling comfortable out there. And then I think kind of just it translated, and kind of just rolled with it since.
And now that takes you into your first professional season with Rockford. You got 10 AHL games under your belt. How has it been kind of adapting to the professional game, the professional speed? What are kind of the things that you've stood out, and what are the things that have stood out to you, and how are you enjoying the AHL scene thus far?
Yeah, no, like I said, it's been fun. A lot of great guys on this team as well. Kind of just meeting them at the start of the year. They're very welcoming, and very kind in helping you out, and kind of figuring stuff out. Obviously a new city, and living on your own for the first time. It's different, and I think they kind of did a good job of kind of helping you out whenever you needed it. But yeah, like you said, the hockey's obviously a little faster, a little stronger. It's kind of the cliche stuff a lot of people say, but I mean it is true. It's how it is, and I think that's just one thing you're kind of adapting to, is there's no kind of younger guys out there like in junior. You got full grown men and stuff like that, who are a little bit stronger in the corners and stuff. But I think it's just kind of adapting to that, and playing fast. It's a new coach as well. Learning new kind of coaching style, and what they like. So I think it's kind of adapting to that, and trying to become the best player you can.
And then through these 10 games, you guys are off to a 5-5-0 start. I know it's been a little bit bumpy these last 3 games, but how do you kind of assess this team through 10 games? I know it's early, and I'm not trying to get to any big picture stuff here, but what are you liking, what you're seeing from the guys in the early going?
No, yeah, like I said, I think we're a lot of really high end players, and I think we're gelling pretty well, like a very tight team. I think for kind of just starting the year, I find that we're all kind of hanging out and pretty tight, which it was obviously a great sign, I think, of a team. But I think we're a fast team, and when we're playing fast, that's when we're at our best. And when we're making plays, I think it just kind of allows us to do well out there, and it opens up ice. And then I think when we get away from that, it's a little bit harder to play in this league. They'll turn pucks over, and get on you quick, and make you pay for that stuff. But I think it's just kind of getting the reps in, and playing more games, and getting more comfortable with each other, and making sure we're staying true to the system.
And one thing that I think the Blackhawks organization has done a really good job of these last couple of years has been giving a lot of their prospects who are about to step onto the professional scene, been giving them some preseason action. I noticed you've gotten a pretty decent amount of games in the preseason these last couple of years. Do you feel like that's kind of helped you adapt a little bit faster, or kind of know what to expect when getting to Rockford?
Yeah, I think anytime you kind of get to play at those, high level games, and it's obviously, obviously huge, and there's a lot of great players playing a preseason's game. It's almost
Yeah.
like a full roster. So being able to kind of play against them, and get kind of situated with the speed and stuff like that, it kind of helps out when you do go down to Rockford. Um, I think just kind of, the coaching staff kind of helping you out as well. It's nice to kind of hear the voices of those guys and what they want to see while you're playing in preseason. So I think kind of just getting accustomed to that speed and that the size of different players in the league and stuff like that helps out.
And through these first 10 games, you've been playing alongside fellow defenseman prospect Nolan Allen, someone who you mentioned played with at the U18s and also were both members of the gold medal winning winter squad for the World Juniors this past year. How has it been playing with a guy who's also going through the same thing that you are? This is his first AHL experience as well. Do you feel like that's helped you guys out? You feel like you guys have established some good chemistry through these first 10 together?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, it goes all the way back to U18s. We kind of met there, and ever since then, I think we've been pretty close. And I actually live with him in Rockford,
Oh,
so I
nice.
see quite a bit of him, at home, and then obviously a bunch at the rink, being my D partner. But no, I think it's been awesome. A guy that's kind of going through the same situation as you, kind of getting accustomed to the pro level, and he's kind of been there ever since you've been drafted, the same draft. So it's kind of nice to bounce ideas off, be able to talk to someone about it, and I think it's just overall been fun for us.
And then you mentioned earlier having another new head coach. That's just part of taking that next step with Anders Sorensen. I've heard a lot of good things about him from many different players that I've had on the show. What have you liked about him as the Rockford head coach, and what are kind of the things that he's been preaching to you along with all the other members of the staff so far with your time there?
Yeah. The staff has been unreal. They're some of the best people that I've kind of seen in the hockey industry already, and I think Anders is great. He's always kind of talking to me and giving advice, and I think that's so big as you're kind of a young player. Is hearing from the coach and what they want to see, and kind of being able to talk to them about your game. It's so nice, and I think the big thing they kind of want to see from me is just moving pucks quick. I think that's such a big thing at that the next level is just being able to play fast and get it in the forwards' hands as quick as possible. So I think that's kind of what the D coach and Nighty there and Anders have kind of been preaching a lot. So I think kind of just getting that down set and working on that a lot has been helpful.
Last question I got for you, Ethan, and then I'll let you get on out of here. I noticed that you were rocking 77 both with Mississauga and Sarnia. You had 24, I think, in the most recent World Juniors, and now you got 38 with the Rockford IceHogs. Is there a story behind 38 at all? Was it just a number that was given to you? Is it your number for a certain reason? And is there any chance you're going to be going back to the double sevens anytime in the near future?
Yeah, it was just a number given to me, but I don't mind it right now. I kind of like it, but I think 77 is always kind of gonna be my number. So anytime I can kind of wear that, it'd be nice. So maybe in the future if I'm allowed, but for now, I think 38 is pretty good.
For sure. You would be just the second Blackhawks defenseman ever to wear 77. The first was Paul Coffey. So I know he didn't really necessarily make his name known in the city of Chicago, but still some pretty good company there. So
Yeah.
Ethan, just want to say thank you again for joining the podcast and for taking this time. I know a lot of Blackhawks fans are super excited to see you playing for the NHL club in the not so distant future, regardless of what jersey number you're wearing. So wishing you all the best the rest of the way in Rockford. And thanks once again, man.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.